Welcome, fellow game pothead, Joe Pal Puttyman here, and welcome to my Stranger Things Season 3 review. Now, this is, as far as my spoiler-free part of this review, it's going to be short and sweet, down to, the nitty-gritty of why this season actually turned out to be not half bad, especially for someone like me, someone in their late 30s that grew up in the 80s and stayed the geek that Dustin would probably be at this age as well. So if at any point you do like this video, make sure to hit the like button, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and make sure to hit the notification bell and be part of the notification squad. Now, during the first episode, me and Nikki Picky from RLG decided to go ahead and watch the first episode together, and they kind of made a joke that I'm more like Dustin. And first I was like, okay, whatever, you know what I mean? Then, boy, did it ring true in a lot of ways, which I will definitely go into in the spoiler review. As far as casting characters, solid all around, just like they were in Season 2. I myself have strange feelings about certain things that happened, and I don't want to go into detail, but I will state that one, if you have watched all the way through to episode 8, but then didn't stay till after the credits or the post-credit roll, and you just stopped when the credits rolled, make sure you watch the post-credits, because I will be telling something in the spoiler review that you may have missed if you watched it, but you didn't watch the middle of the credits after episode 8. So I want to make sure you guys go back and check that out if you haven't. But with that, I am absolutely happy with what happened. The Duffer Brothers did an amazing job as usual. I don't know where they get these ideas, because I feel like they're about to get to an end, and then they open up for new things of that nature. And, so it's always going to be one of those things where I feel like they keep things open, and then sometimes I don't know, it's a confliction. So the reason I'm going to do this is what I'm going to do this way. If you haven't watched Stranger Things Season 3, and you want to know if it's good, absolutely it's good. They're still doing a solid run in my eyes in this. There may be people that might be conflicted by it. Maybe they got bored with it. That could be that situation. I myself, as a geek, found many things that appealed to me in this. And I think even with the connections that Fortnite has used with it has made it more appealing as well. So with that, I'm going to jump into the spoiler review now. And I'm going to get into much detail about Easter eggs and things of that nature that happened without the episode that people may have not noticed, that a geek like myself would, that I just had to express. A lot of things that happened. So, with that, let's go ahead and start the review. Now, first and foremost, you do know that in there you see the connection with Will because of the dust. Now, if there's things you can't put together, mainly the big guy, the big bad guy, the Mind Flare. The Mind Flare actually is the same thing you see at the end of Season 2, but that's the smoke Mind Flare. The what actually ended up taking Billy's body over. And then, of course, the meat Mind Flare, I call it, is the one that you see in this season. That's more of a flesh version, that they use the flayed hosts that actually get used by it. Okay, some recurring characters I didn't think were going to come back. Murray, I didn't think was going to come back. Murray was actually a surprise. I did tear up, because if you haven't watched it and you at this point don't want any spoilers that are huge, then you're about to hear a big spoiler, so leave now. And that is the death of Hopper. I could not believe that. That actually brought a tear to my eye, because I feel like he's a integral character to keeping 11 and especially with Michael and things of that nature, and then them leaving, like it seems like it's such a hole and such an ending that would be like an Endgame kind of ending. But then if you watch the post-credit scene, you see that it's clearly not true. So again, if you haven't watched the post-credit scene, you need to stop now, because I'm going to state this right now. And here it is. The Russians have a Demogorgon, which means we have more Stranger Things coming, whether it be just in Russia, whatever it may be. But the teenagers the kids are getting older, so I don't think it's going to have the same appeal now that they're all teenagers or adults, like Will's brother, so on and so forth. All right, so with that, I want to also talk about some things that appealed to me as a geek, and some things that kind of reflect on old episodes. For example, when you actually see Eleven in the store, and she actually has the Eggo waffles behind her. If you did not realize that reference there, that would be her and the Eggo waffles. I love how they did that. Another thing is Scott the teacher. Now, Scott the teacher I love, and I love that Dustin is just like him, because the Scott teacher always appealed to me when it came to the first season. But in the garage, when you actually see him for the first time, he is listening to Weird Al Yankovic's My Bologna. No joke, it's a Weird Al song. It made me trip. Then to continue on, at one point when you see Dustin in the Starcourt Mall, the first time when they're investigating about the Russians, if you look at the shirt that he's actually wearing, Dustin is wearing a Weird Al in 3D t-shirt. I used to have that album. I still have the album. I have the digital album. But as far as I used to actually have the physical copy and stared at it. There's no way I could ever miss that. That is Weird Al in 3D, the album cover that he is wearing on his shirt. And then, of course, at the end, Dustin sings the theme song to Never Ending Story. I have seen Never Ending Story probably about 100 times, just like I did seeing Ninja Turtles. So when he started singing just that first part to Susie, I teared up as a geek, because that would probably do something. I've never sang that song to a girlfriend, but I guarantee you if I ever found a girlfriend that actually liked that song and wanted me to sing it to her, I probably would. So that all those things with the Weird Al t-shirt, all that stuff, all the little nerd behaviors when he brought up the whole, even I'm not in My Little Pony thing, but when he brought it up to Lucas's sister, Erica, which I love that whole America, you can't have America without Erica in it, which is beautiful. But when he brought that up and everything, that seems like something I would say to anybody that says, I'm not a nerd. No, you're a nerd. And I can point him out in little intricate things, just like he did with Erica. So Dustin, without a doubt, is by far my favorite character. I even liked Eleven better than Dustin, but I think Dustin has trumped it for me, just because he appeals so much to me as a geek, and he's not afraid to be himself, which reminds me of me even when I was growing up, not afraid to be myself. And it helped me, you know what I mean? I ended up getting my own Susie at a young age and everything, a teenage age to say. Well, not really my own Susie. She wasn't really like Susie at all. If I would have met someone like Susie, I don't know where we'd be. But anyway, my point to the whole thing is that's what makes me love this series, is because it... Well, let me explain one other thing. If you guys don't realize it, when it comes to the Mind Flayer and then the Flayed and all those are actually... I noticed when it comes to the Duffer Brothers, they take a lot of references from other horror movies that were also big in the 80s, like Invasion of the Body Snatchers, how they're all connected, things like that. The Obeying thing, Flesh, things of that nature. There's so many movies. The Thing, I think, was like another one that it feels like it appeals to. What makes Stranger Things so great is it appeals to new people that have never seen those type of movies back in the 80s, but makes it more... better, I guess you could say, and at the same point takes those things and puts them together, because the monster itself is just so many parts of so many different types of things, and you can only come up with so many ideas, but the way the Duffer Brothers does it, it's very intricate and very interesting. So with that, I love the whole the doppelgangers and everything and how they did all that. I don't understand the whole the thing I still don't get is the Billy seeing himself in the Upside Down. I don't understand that, because it can see the flesh of everything else, but how does it see himself? Unless he's just doing reflection kind of thing. That's the only thing I think of. Also, I also use the Russian. There's the Russian guy that keeps on attacking Hopper. I was calling him the Russian Terminator, because if you watch him closely, which just feels like another 80s reference, you actually see him marching towards Hopper in several moments where it feels like he's the Terminator. When Arnold Schwarzenegger was the Terminator in the old movie, so I kind of had that appeal, which is probably what they were going for in that situation. Again, 80s, that kind of thing. Okay. Another thing I love is Murray. Murray is a relationship guy. If you remember, there was Nancy and Will's brother that actually realized that they're both in love with each other, and Murray was the one that pointed out like there's just like that sexual tension. And of course, same thing happened with Hopper and Joyce. I'm so sad because I always felt Hopper and Joyce were perfect together based on since season 1, and it made me happy to see that they were going to get together. But then to see Hopper die, it's like it was foreseen. And at the same time, It wasn't, because the reason I feel like it was foreseen was because of how much they put under them getting a relationship together. And I felt like they played that off because they wanted it to be more effective all around because of how much he affected everybody. Anyway, so I also love Hopper's epic return to 11 after 11. Actually, when 11 had a piece of the mind flare in her, and then he squished it. That was a great epic scene. Every scene that 11 came in using her powers, you knew it was her no matter what, but it's just the way they presented it was very dramatic, very superhero-ish. So that's what I look about. Now, I want to tell you guys right now, I had 2 pages of notes that I wrote down of every single episode that I wanted to go through, and there's a lot, you know what I mean? There's the green vials for Starcourt boxes. If you don't realize what those were used for, if you actually look at the machine that's actually shooting and trying to open up the gate or open up the hole, those things are actually put into the machine on the top. So if you didn't know what those green vials were, that's what those were used for. You can see those things. I like how Billy confesses about the giant shadow, but then attacks Max. Like she was using her weakness for him, which sucked. But of course the mind flare knew. Again, the whole thing where Hopper and Joyce visit Marie, that shocked me. You know what I mean? Let's see here. The pieces of the mind flare, I thought that was awesome and everything. How they did that as well. And of course the one thing I loved is when Joyce punches the mayor, Larry Klein. Such a dick, but I think he was set up to be a dick, and he definitely earned that punch into the face. There were a lot of good scenes that I felt were just like, yeah, stick it to the man kind of situation. And also the whole Heather thing with her father. I love how things connect so much in this world of Stranger Things, where people connect through other things. Like when we didn't know that was Heather's father, that was kind of a shock. I didn't know it. I wasn't expecting it, but I should have, because that's kind of what Stranger Things does. It connects things in so many different ways. So it kind of flipped my mind when Max showed up at Heather's house to see Heather with Billy, and Heather's father is the one that runs the paper. Boom. Dramatic effect. Okay, so anyway, and then like I said, let's see here. The Weird Al stuff, like I said, the Weird Al stuff kind of blew me away. Let's see here. A Secret Under the Bed, I like that. I will be stating that when I play Fortnite, the Mega Mall, I'll be calling it the Starcourt Mall just out of fun, and I think everyone else that watches Stranger Things with me, from this point on, that'll be an inside joke that non-Stranger Things fans will not understand unless they go watch it. So if we use Starcourt Mall, let's say, hey guys, let's drop the Starcourt Mall, and they go, what do you mean Starcourt Mall? You mean Mega Mall? I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever, and then giggle a little bit. I think it's an inside thing to know when someone is not a Stranger Things fan and when they are a Stranger Things fan. And we definitely can use that as a Fortnite thing. But there you have it. That's the things I wanted to go through when it came to this. I loved it. I still think they're doing a great job. I feel like it's an end game. I like seeing the Demogorgon again, because I was wondering about that, because I was like, is there going to be any more Demogorgons? Because we were dealing with the Mind Flayers and the Flayed, but we never really saw a Demogorgon. And I think it's because we thought the Demogorgon was gone, but it also makes me wonder, what was the connection to the Demogorgon and the Mind Flayer? Are we going to get something of that as well? This all could be something that's going to be later on with the other characters like 12 and all the other numbers that they had with 11. Prior to 11, not 12, but the ones prior to 11, things of that nature. I always feel like those are going to come in later. And of course, they have set up for another season, of course, with the Demogorgon in Russia. But again, the kids are getting older, so I don't know how this is going to work. Are we going to see the kids older, like an It Chapter 2 kind of situation? I'm not exactly sure, but I know I'm running into about 15 minutes of this review, and I know with my notes there's also things that I can go over with RLG when he does his podcast with me, and when we can talk about it. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to keep my notes. I think they did a great job. I love the little Easter eggs I pointed out. Big ups to the Duffer Brothers throwing a lot of Weird Al stuff in there, especially with Dustin and his teacher. That just made me happy. That brought the geek out. And of course, the Never Ending Story thing just made me, I'm not going to lie, it made me tear up a little bit. I laughed and teared up at the same time, because it just felt like me. Fuck it, I'm Dustin. I don't care. I like Dustin's character. He's an awesome kid. And that admittedly was me when I was a kid. You know what I mean? I was the geek. I was the one playing with the Tinker toys and doing that kind of thing. But anyway, I want to know what you guys think. Comment below. Did you enjoy the season 3? Would you say it's your favorite season? I am mixed on that. I have to go back. I feel like what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little bit of episodes here and there and go back and look, because I feel like season 2 still might be favorite, but at the same time, I really love this season, and then season 1's always going to be epic. But I just love how much 11 has grown, and the mall thing, the whole mall thing was a big deal to me because I grew up with malls around me, being a big start back in the 80s and 90s, so it was a big deal. Heck, that's where I found my first electronic boutique, which turned into a GameStop, but that's a whole other story altogether. So I'm blabbing on too much. I hope you guys enjoyed the review. And as always, make sure you hit the like button, make sure the subscribe button, make sure the little notification bell, and be part of the notification squad. And as always, I am Puttyman with Gamer Potheads. And do not forget, we're all about the high score. Peace out, and talk to y'all later.